And it is the dumbest bill in America, and it is voter ID for illegals. Not what you think it is. It's not voter ID for the voters. It's Minnesota Democrats passing a bill to give voter ID to illegals so that the illegals can vote. Can't make this up. So, ladies and gentlemen, Minnesota Democrats passed a law this week that would allow illegal immigrants to apply for and obtain driver's licenses without having to prove they are in the country legally. The driver's license for all legislation states that a person applying for a state ID or driver's license is not required to demonstrate U.S. citizenship or lawful presence in the United States. Republicans pointed out in the state of Minnesota in the legislature that the language of the text is so vague that it would allow illegal immigrants to use their driver's licenses as voter ID. Republicans sought to amend the bill to include not for flying, that is to say, you couldn't have or use this ID as an illegal for flying on airplanes, and you couldn't use this ID given to illegals by the state of Minnesota for voting. So the Republicans put these two amendments on the floor in Minnesota's legislature for a vote, and the Democrats voted both of those measures down. Quote, what in your bill prevents that terrorist from coming to Minnesota, getting a driver's license, and getting on an airline and committing a terrorist act, Minnesota Republican State Glenn Gruenhagen said. But Democrat State Senator Zainab Mohammed claimed giving illegals licenses will actually enhance public safety. Yeah. Oh my gosh. Can't make this up. Quote, the right thing to do is keeping the people who are on our roads safe. And that's what Minnesotans are asking for, Mohammed said. Everyone across the state wants people on our roads to have gotten the proper driver's education that they need to have a proof of license so that we can be safe and live our lives with dignity. The only problem is that Mr. Mohammed is Zainab Mohammed, which I think is a lady, by the way. Yeah, she's a lady. Is the fact that you decided to vote against protections for legal voters who are American citizens in Minnesota. And so your whole goal here is to have these illegals show up en masse in Minnesota and vote. So Mohammed also rejected Republicans' concerns about opening Minnesota up to potential terror threats, claiming documentation requirements didn't stop the January 6th Capitol riot, which she called a terrorist attack. So why does this matter, ladies and gentlemen? Well, it matters for all the obvious reasons, because the goal of Minnesota Democrats is to have illegals vote in state elections. But there's more to this story. And here is what it is. Under Barack Obama, he allowed tens of thousands of Ethiopians and other people, mostly Muslims, into the United States, and they settled in Minnesota. And the whole purpose of that was to cement the Democrat Party in Minnesota. And now that the Democrat Party is, because Minnesota was starting to trend right, and it was traditionally a Democrat state, to be fair, but it was trending right for sure, including in many elections they had. Statewide elections were very, very close and getting closer and closer. So Barack Obama wanted to cement this by bringing in lots of illegals, or lots of people. Some came in legally, some illegally, to be fair. And now many of those Muslims are Democrats, and they are elected officials in Minnesota. Now, but to be fair, there are Muslim Republicans too, okay? But the fact of the matter is, in Minnesota, the whole point was to flip elections. And now they're trying to cheat even further by saying, well, now we're going to permanently cement the Democrat Party in Minnesota by having all these people who are illegal coming to the United States, coming to Minnesota, and then giving them voter ID so they can vote. That, ladies and gentlemen, is the playbook of why we have unbridled illegal immigration in the United States, because the Democrat Party wants to flip this country once and for all. So it is a one-party state, and will forever become a totalitarian country because that is their goal. That's what the left does everywhere they get into power. And that is the dumbest bill in America, voter ID for illegals. And that's it from Mark and the Millennials. Thank you for joining Mark and the Millennials. This is Mark Fisher. Thank you to our producer, Christopher Hopkins. Check us out on iTunes, Spotify, YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Getter, True Social, Rumble, and our website. See you next time.